Hallows Eve, a pagan festival when witches congregate and ghosts make themselves known to the living. Ghosts. Can there be such things? Is there really life after death? Well, if you had joined us last weekend, you'll have witnessed live coverage of our ghostly vigil at what was once the most fearsome place on earth, the Tower of London. Our intrepid ghostbusters roamed within its walls in the dead of night in the hope of encountering a real ghost. Ghosts and ghouls, the real paranormal. Can there be such things? Are they just figments of a vivid imagination or something more real? It is an old maxim of mine, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle once wrote, that when you have excluded the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. It is with this sound advice that I invite you to join Tom Baker and his squad of intrepid investigators as they attempt to get to the bottom of some scary goings-on. Not convinced? Neither am I.
Do you think you've seen a ghost? If so, you're probably not alone.
But the atmosphere in here is electric.
Come on. God.
But would you ever imagine that even the latest technology could prove ghosts exist?
You feel the coldness coming out.
For 3 months, a team of ghost hunters have ventured to some of Britain's spookiest places to prove the paranormal. Places where the ghosts of those who died horribly apparently choose to return.
Wake up, you two. Ready for eternity? No!
And haunted homes where spirits seem determined to let their presence be known.
Oh my God!
What's that? Look!
But one thing's certain, chasing ghosts can be an interesting business.
Marion, will you leave, please?
Now! Leave her now!
Especially when seances get out of control.
Get down.
He tried to kill me.
Margate, a bustling seaside town on the Kent coast and home to one of Britain's oldest stages, the Theatre Royal.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Theatres, fascinating places, hotbeds of passion and emotion, where dreams are fulfilled or hopes cruelly dashed amid the maelstrom of tragedy, romance, and suspense played out on this stage. No wonder that they are popular with ghosts. Take the Theatre Royal in Margate, opened 1787. Imagine the fiery characters that have passed through those doors and trodden these boards during the last 2.5 centuries. No wonder some of the spirits and souls of those who have either appeared on this stage or worked behind the scenes or sat in the audience may have decided to stay. Margate's Theatre Royal is full of ghosts.
But will the ghost detectives be able to produce any evidence that ghosts really do exist at Margate's Theatre Royal? Or will they discover it's all just an illusion? Armed with an array of high-tech equipment, they've got just 3 days to conduct their investigation.
Yeah. With how many adapters? 2 or 4?
He didn't say.
Taking that.
Just that one, all right. Okay.
That should suffice.
Okay.
Are you on the infrared camera? Yeah, I've got it now. Okay, I'm going to put that through the main dash this time rather than to a VHS.
Obviously, as you can see, the beams are blocking most of the view, but from the angle I've got the camera in this corner, we should be able to get the majority of this room illuminated night and day.
Ross Hemsworth is team leader.
Right, we're lucky with this one in that we managed to get a recce done of this venue, so we've actually been here before, so we know where the hot spots are. So we're actually running cameras across the stage, both sides of the stage, high up in the rigging above the stage, in front of the stage covering the royal boxes, and up in the balcony. So quite hopeful that we could have a good investigation.
As the ghost detectives settle down for 3 days round-the-clock monitoring, another member of the team, clairvoyant Marion Goodfellow, arrives. She believes that the dead have spirits that she can contact. She's never been to the Theatre Royal before.
As I was coming down, really standing here, I really felt that there was either tunnels or something underneath my feet. And whether the building actually goes, you know, sort of pans out larger than the actual theatre, I don't know. But there's definitely something underneath my feet, I can feel it. Like causeway, like traffic, like an area, okay? I've got a doorkeeper here, I've got a gentleman, an oldish gentleman. He's very, very friendly, very, very friendly. Quite stocky, but very, very quick on his feet, very nimble, knew everything, knew everyone. People would call him by his first name, and I'm trying desperately to get that first name. I think they call him Charlie, but I don't think that's his name.
Gives you a feeling of it's an extremely happy place. There's been a lot of laughter here.
And some terrible tragedies.
Oh, yeah.
The closer I get to the stage, the more tragedy I feel. And I don't think that's a...
So the mediums don't always agree.
Why am I being driven up here? It's quite terrifying, but I'm completely comfortable up here. I feel like I can fly. I've got somebody here that would run across there, no trouble at all. I can feel him as if he's standing in my body. Can we get in that room? Or is it dangerous?
No, it's full of rubbish.
Marion's instincts about the underground tunnels prove correct.
It's just amazing. Gosh, I wish I was fit. I'd be in these caverns and places just ferreting around. Oh, look at it, Janice. It's amazing. It's like a whole little street down here. I've got drunks. I've got just swaying backwards and forwards. I've got drunks here. Perhaps there was a bar down here, an old pub or something, you know, but I've got sort of drunken marauders, if you like.
Tomorrow was made for sun. Tomorrow may
Auntie Pat, actress, writer, 1920 to 1994. She died aged 74, and in accordance with her last wish, found her final resting place cemented here in the theatre's hallowed walls. She's not a troublesome ghost. They all think of her as Auntie Pat, their guardian, and everyone describes her corner of the theatre as warm, comfortable even. But woe betide anyone who blocks Auntie Pat's view. Theatre staff know that when she can't see the stage, the temperature of this area drops radically. Fact or fiction? Does Auntie Pat really haunt the theatre, making her presence known to those who inadvertently block her sight lines? Or is Betty's ghost just another theatrical invention?
Basically, every time we come in, we have to say, hello, Auntie Pat. We don't have to, but we do. If we cover up with scenery, the show does go downhill. And if you, as soon as you uncover it, so there's something in it. I don't know what, but there's something in Auntie Pat. So bless her, she's been there a while now.
The other Boxing Day, we were busy with only about 4 of us and my staff and a full house. I was in the flies pulling the scenery up and down, my technician was on the switchboard, and all of a sudden things started to go wrong. The switchboard crashed, half the lights failed, I put the wrong scenery in without knowing, and it was general mayhem. And then someone actually said to me, have you said good morning to Aunt Pat? Well, both me and Justin had said, oh no, we haven't. It started to go right from there on. Now, again, it's one of those things, but we've now got the habit of saying good morning or good night to Aunt Pat.
But will Aunt Pat make her presence known to the team? As the Ghost Watch continues, investigator Andy Matthews gets a strange calling to the stage.
Well, I was sitting up in the control room and I suddenly got the impression that I should go downstairs with this digital camera. I don't know why. So I did that, walked onto the stage, put my arms out and said, OK, if there's anybody here, can you possibly let me know that you are here? So I thought, OK, I'll give it a bash. And I stood there, and first I pointed the camera to stage right, then I pointed it to stage left. Then I had a complete change of direction, took 2 steps back over here, stood here, took another 2 steps back, and fired off a shot, expecting, obviously, nothing. But we got 3 orbs. Quite incredible. I don't know how it happened. It's can be a bit spooky, can't it? You know, we don't know what's going on, but... So
what was the feeling you got that made you think there might be orbs down here?
It was nothing. It was just popped into my head. I'm going to go downstairs and take a photograph. It's difficult to explain this type of thing. You know, it just hits you like an idea does sometimes, and you just go with your own instincts. And I felt that I had to come down here with a digital camera and try it out. And hey presto, there we go. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that.
What's the theory about orbs? What are these balls of light? Or what might they be?
Well, the main theory is that they're what's left of the human spirit. Once the body and flesh, blood and bone dies, that's the energy part of the human spirit that survives and goes on to heaven knows where. It's just the energy. It's just an energy ball. That's as much as we can dare to hazard a guess at, really. I don't think it's camera phenomena. I don't think it's dust. If it is dust, they're very intelligent pieces of dust. They just seem to pop up. Not on command, but 9 times out of 10, if a sensitive feels that there's one there and a shot is taken, especially on a digicam, then 9 times out of 10 they're going to get a result. And I can't explain that. It's one of the great fascinating parts about doing this kind of work. You know, the more you do it and the more evidence you see, the more you want to carry on and find out what is actually going on.
Andy is convinced that the orbs are no camera trick. But some experts suggest that they are a common feature with the lenses of digital cameras that are super sensitive to reflections and rogue light sources.
I've got another one.
Other investigations have also shown the orbs to be particles of dust. But who better to know about the paranormal at the theatre than those who work there day and night? Richard Thomas is the technical director of this theatre, and for the most part, he and the rest of the staff coexist with the ghosts. They're just part and parcel of the job. But not all ghosts are benign and friendly. Late one night, Richard was closing down the theatre. Nothing unusual, same routine every night. But something struck him as unusual that night. Richard first noticed that 5 of the theatre seats, all in a row, were down, as if sat on by 5 invisible friends. From a distance, he just assumed the seats needed oiling. But as he drew closer, he could hear the sound of the rustling of feet and the creaking of floorboards. His bravery waned as he got closer, edging slowly towards the seats. And when he was just feet away, the seat suddenly flipped up with a massive clap. Richard was paralyzed with fear. He tried to rationalize the situation, coming to the conclusion that the vibrations in the old building must have caused them to suddenly free themselves. But as he walked past the seats, he noticed a chill in the air, a coldness in just 5 seats. He could contain his fear no more and backed away from the seat slowly. And as he did so, his eyes fixed on the 5 seats. 4 of them flipped back down, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Richard froze, his eyes fixed on the 5th seat. He backed off again, and suddenly the seat flew down with such force that the whole row of seats shook and the clatter echoed through the darkened theatre. He ran as fast as he could, leaping over seats in his efforts to escape. He swears to this day that he could hear guffaws of laughter from behind him. Compared to some of the theatre's visitors, though, Richard was rather lucky. Oh yes, he was rather lucky. So far, video cameras have yet to record any trace of the Theatre Royal's ghosts. But another clairvoyant member of the team arrives, Paul Hanrahan. He appears to make contact with Sarah, one of the theatre's most reported ghosts.
If I'm not careful, I'm going to go into trance, and I don't want to do that now. So can I stop, please? Sorry.
But can they really communicate with the dead? Join us later. Detectives are on the case at the Theatre Royal in Margate and are hoping to find a ghost of one of its more celebrated actresses, Sarah Thorne. Before arriving at the theatre, another member of the team, clairvoyant Paul Hanrahan, claims to have had a premonition about Sarah. But what would he feel now?
So this is the first time I've been in this building. I feel something's happened in this building which has brought sadness. I don't know what. It's just that as you walk in here, there's a feeling that hits you in emotionally of a loss of some sort. And I feel it's feminine sort of energy. That's all I've got at the moment. I'll let you know what else I get as I'm going around.
But could the feminine energy be Sarah's?
Ooh.
Sarah Thorne dedicated her whole life to the stage, and in particular the Theatre Royal here in Margate. In 1885, she opened a school of acting here and ran it with an iron fist until her death of influenza in 1899. For 14 years, she was the theatre's lifeblood, and it is said
that Sarah has never been able to leave the place that she loved.
But is it possible for Paul to detect Sarah's ghost after all this time?
And I want to go back just over 100 years. That's what I'm being told. Go back just over 100 years to place this lady. And she's telling me she would have worked here, so she wouldn't have been somebody who visited to watch something. She's telling me that she would have worked here or had some connection to this building.
Unhappy that modern students are failing her standards, she has her own way of ensuring that discipline is maintained. During a rehearsal in 1934, Sarah's apparition appeared in a circle, moaning and groaning at the performance. The dumbstruck cast stared in awe as the ghostly figure rose to the ceiling, and one of the dancers fainted in terror.
She's bringing a lot of emotion with her.
What sort of emotion?
It's emotion, just emotion. Deep emotion. I don't know whether it's... She's making me... Yeah, I'm going to have to stop because I'm losing the control over the thing. If I'm not careful, I'm going to go into trance, and I don't want to do that now. So can I stop, please? Sorry.
That Sarah existed is not in question. Like countless others, her passion for the Theatre Royal is literally undying. But who's to say that her uncompromising spirit has never left? Legend or unbelievable lie?
Well, I was asked to help in the fixing of the seating after the war, when this theatre was due to be opened again. And we had to be open by 5 o'clock the next evening, which meant that we had to work all night to achieve this end. About between 1 and 3 a.m., we decided to have a cup of tea from a flask and sat up in the gods up there in the centre. And during this period, this figure walked across the stage out towards the stage door. And it looked like a figure of a tall, slim lady. And what did it make you feel like? Well, it was very frightening. I could hardly believe it. But at that point, I wasn't, aware of this resident ghost that was supposed to be here. It was only when I related it to someone later that I found out. And I said, well, that must have been it, Sarah Thorne. And it was quite frightening, quite frightening.
So how did you act? What did you do?
Well, after it went, I just didn't know what to make of it, never having seen an apparition in my life. To be quite honest, I didn't really want to come in here anymore. I stayed away, yes, I never came in again. And I was rather scared.
Reams never returned to the theatre until this day. Perhaps he had good reason. In the control room, the team believe they have detected strange objects floating above the auditorium during rehearsals.
Macbeth! Macbeth! Macbeth, beware Macduff!
Okay, we've just been looking at the mini-cams upstairs, and the main mini-cam that's facing out is picking up orbs, quite a few of them moving in the upper balcony, the upper circle, moving left to right, some at quite high speed, quite bright. We're recording that upstairs at the moment. I'm just trying to see if I can verify it with the second camera at the moment without any luck. We're getting some lens flare and that on here, but we're not actually seeing the orbs on this one at the moment. But as I zoom into the area where the mini-cams are catching it, it's very dark, so I'm not really getting a very clear picture.
He will not be commanded. Here's another, more potent than the first.
Macbeth!
Floating upwards. We say upwards. Can you give me an area on that, Andy, please?
Yeah, just above Mark's head. Not Mark, John, sorry. It's up on the second circle up in the first circle up.
And where's the pond that Lady growled around and top of Socrates?
Okay, just to eliminate the ones we had before, where is that camera positioned? Is it the one in the second box?
Yes.
Right, we've got 4 spotlights on the side of that box, which are giving us 4 light beams directly in front of camera. So I think we could have dust again there.
Unlike the orbs photographed on stage by Andy, these are more easily explained.
Let Mark get on with what he's doing. I'm going to go up there and just investigate, but I think you'll find it'll be light beams across, so it'll be close to lens, so it's probably going to be dust. False alarm, I think.
To time and mortal custom, yet my heart throws to know one thing. Tell me, if your art.
While the ghost detectives continue to search for proof, there's one man who needs no convincing that the ghosts exist. Theatre manager Michael Wheatley-Ward.
We had a clairvoyant here about 6 years ago, and I'd often wondered why I'd been connected with this theatre most of my life. And it turned out that this particular spirit guide I've got was connected with the theatre when it was first opened. It was a owner of a barge, and it turned out to be Charlie Mate, one of the 2 founders. So I've taken this in my stride, and I often think that he's around me at moments of difficult decisions, and he's helped me make them. It might sound as though I'm absolutely raving bonkers, but if I get any problems, I start to think to myself, well, what would Charlie say? And sometimes an answer mysteriously appears. I can't be any more clearer than that, and I suppose a lot of people looking at me will think, well, he's stark staring mad, but I've come to believe in it.
The farmer's daughter has married the vicar's son. He said they will make a lovely couple because she is a Quaker and he wants his oats.
While most performances here are excellent, like any other theatre, the Theatre Royal in Margate has its off nights. But unlike any other theatre in the world, here we have our own in-house critic. Charlie Mate is his name. What's more, he died many years ago. He's regularly seen and heard wandering in the cellars under the stage. But when a performance is less than impressive, he appears across the road from the theatre, standing at the bar of the nearest pub. And regular drinkers all swear blind that he vanishes the moment the curtain comes down.
I was standing behind the bar where Sheila is now. As I was standing there,